The fire that burns quietly. There comes a time in every man's life when he feels a certain kind of pain. Not the pain of losing money, not the pain of losing sleep, but the pain of being emotionally wounded by someone he once trusted completely. When a woman hurts you, when she breaks your trust, disrespects your worth, or treats your heart as something disposable, it shakes the ground you walk on. You start to question yourself. You start to doubt your value. You wonder if you weren't enough, or if love was simply an illusion. But Albert Camus once wrote, "In the depth of winter, I finally learned that within me there lay an invincible summer." That's what this video is about. The invincible summer inside you. The power that cannot be broken by betrayal, rejection, or emotional pain. Because no matter who walks away from you, you never lose yourself unless you hand yourself over. Camus believed that life itself is absurd, unpredictable, uncontrollable, and often unfair. But he also believed in revolt, in strength, in the act of rising despite the absurdity. And when a woman hurts you, that is your moment of revolt. Not through anger or revenge, but through self-mastery. This is not a speech about hate. It's not about winning her back. It's about winning yourself back. It's about understanding pain not as punishment, but as your awakening. Because the truth is, pain is the teacher that comfort could never be. So take a breath. Let go of the noise. Forget what she said. Forget how it ended. And listen carefully. Because by the end of this, you will know exactly how a Stoic and a man of depth handles a woman who hurts him. The wound is the opening. The Stoics taught that pain is not the problem. Your judgment of it is. Camus expanded this by saying that pain is a part of existence itself, an inevitable proof that we are alive. When she hurts you, your instinct will scream for closure, attention, or revenge. But in that storm of emotions lies your first test. Can you stay still? Can you let the wound open without trying to fill it instantly? Most men can't. They rush to text her, to explain themselves, to prove something, anything, or to make her feel the loss. But every reaction you give her is a piece of your peace that you trade away. Camus wrote, "To be happy, we must not be too concerned with others." In that one line lies the secret. When someone wounds your ego, the real damage is not what they did. It's what you let their actions make you do. Every time you chase an answer, you give her more power. Every time you try to make her see your worth, you're admitting that her opinion defines it. But you were not born to be validated by someone's inconsistency. You were born to stand firm in the middle of uncertainty. Think of yourself as a mountain. Storms will come, lightning will strike, but a mountain doesn't beg the clouds to stop. It simply stands unmoved until the storm passes, and it always does. That's how you handle a woman who hurts you, not by reacting, but by refusing to collapse. Not by arguing, but by observing. Not by proving your worth, but by protecting your peace. Because the man who can feel pain without losing his balance is already stronger than the one who causes it. You must understand something powerful. When she hurt you, she revealed more about herself than about you. A person's actions in moments of chaos are reflections of their own inner war. You just happen to be standing close enough to feel the blast, and your greatest mistake would be to take it personally. The Stoics would say, "It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them." Camus would add, "Even in the face of meaninglessness, choose to live, to stand, to love again. So, let her actions be noise, not music. Because when a woman wounds you, she's expecting a reaction. Give her silence instead. Give her peace instead. Give her the calm of a man who understands that pain is temporary but character is permanent. Detachment is not coldness. There's a difference between being cold and being calm. Coldness is when you shut off your heart completely, when you become numb just to avoid feeling again. Calmness is when you open your heart but refuse to let it control your actions. Camus said, "You will never be happy if you continue to search for what happiness consists of. You will never live if you are looking for the meaning of life." In other words, stop chasing emotional answers. Stop asking why she did it. Stop overanalyzing every word, every text, every silence. Because overthinking is the poison that keeps pain alive long after the wound is gone. When you detach, you don't stop caring. You just stop bleeding. You begin to see her not as an angel who fell, but as a human who stumbled. And when you accept that, you reclaim your peace. Detachment is not running away. It's standing still in the middle of chaos and choosing clarity. It's telling yourself, I could chase, I could beg, I could fight, but none of that will change who I am. And that's the heart of Stoicism. You control your response, not the result. You control your character, not her choices. Camus believed in living without illusions, facing life exactly as it is. And that's your task here. Don't romanticize what broke you. Don't build poetry out of pain. Face it, accept it, transcend it. Because the moment you stop trying to fix her, you start fixing yourself. You begin to see that the power was never in her hands. It was in your reaction all along. Let her go in peace, but let yourself grow in silence. Walk away not because you hate her, but because you finally love yourself more. When you learn to do that, to detach without bitterness, you become the kind of man who is no longer ruled by emotion, but guided by wisdom. That is Stoic freedom. That is Camus' rebellion against the chaos of life, not to destroy it, but to rise above it with quiet strength. Acceptance is not weakness. There's a dangerous illusion that many men fall into, the belief that accepting pain means you've surrendered to it. But acceptance is not surrender. Acceptance is power. Camus wrote, "The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion." That's exactly what acceptance is, an act of rebellion. When she hurts you, the world expects you to crumble. Your mind expects you to break. But when you choose to accept, to say, yes, it happened and I will not run from it, you are already reclaiming your freedom. Acceptance is the door to transformation. Because as long as you deny what happened, you stay chained to it. You replay the pain, you feed the story, you keep the wound open. But when you accept, when you say this is what it is, the story begins to lose its control over you. Remember, she doesn't owe you closure. She doesn't owe you understanding. And life doesn't owe you fairness. Camus saw life as absurd, meaning unpredictable, unjust, and often without clear purpose. But instead of despairing, he said, embrace it. Smile at the chaos. Walk through the fire. Because the moment you accept absurdity, it stops having power over you. When a woman betrays you, the first thing you want is a reason. You want her to explain why, but her reasons will never bring you peace. They'll only bring you more confusion. The truth is, sometimes people act from their own emptiness, not your mistakes. And you can't fill their emptiness by understanding it. So instead of chasing why, accept what is. Accept that people change. Accept that loyalty is rare. Accept that sometimes the one you do anything for will walk away without a word. And that's okay. Because your worth isn't defined by who stays. It's proven by how you stand when they leave. Acceptance doesn't make you cold. It makes you clear. You stop trying to rewrite what already happened and start focusing on writing what's next. When you can say, it hurt, but I'm still here, you become untouchable. Because pain that has been accepted turns into strength, and strength that has been understood turns into peace. Self-mastery over emotion. The next step is mastery, and not over others, but over yourself. Camus believed that true freedom begins when a man takes complete responsibility for his inner world. He said, "In order to understand the world, one has to turn away from it on occasion." That is what Stoic mastery is about. Turning away from the chaos of emotions and observing them from a distance. Not to escape them, but to see them clearly. When she hurts you, your first instinct might be to retaliate, to text her back, to prove something, to show her what she lost. But that's not mastery, and that's reaction, and reaction is weakness disguised as control. The man who masters himself doesn't chase validation. He doesn't beg for respect. He simply becomes the kind of man who commands it. Control your breath. Control your focus. Control your words. Because every moment you act out of emotion, you give your power away. And every moment you remain still, you regain it. Camus taught that the world itself doesn't care about our emotions, yet we have the power to give meaning to our actions. So give meaning to your silence. Give dignity to your distance. You don't heal by exploding. You heal by evolving. You heal by showing yourself that you can endure without becoming bitter. Remember, emotional control doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you don't let feelings rule your direction. A king who bows to anger becomes a slave to it. But a man who watches anger rise, acknowledges it, and lets it pass, that's a man who rules himself. If she expects your pain to make you weak, surprise her with your strength. If she expects chaos, give her calm. If she expects neediness, give her nothing but quiet confidence. Because the man who can remain calm when everything around him burns, that's the man who cannot be defeated. Master yourself, and the world will follow, because people can sense it in that quiet energy, that inner stability. It's what separates the reactive man from the stoic man. The reactive man seeks attention. The stoic man becomes attention, and Camus would say, "Live with your head high, even in the absurd." That's the essence of self-mastery. Standing tall when no one else understands your silence. Rebuilding from the ruins. Once you've accepted and mastered your emotions, something powerful begins to happen. You start to rebuild, but this time differently. When a woman hurts you, she unknowingly gives you a gift, the mirror of your own strength. Because pain exposes what peace could never show you. It reveals who you truly are when comfort disappears. Camus said, "What is happiness except the simple harmony between a man and the life he leads?" To rebuild, you must first remove what doesn't belong. Let go of the fantasy of who she was. Let go of the maybe one day story. Let go of the version of yourself that existed only to please her. The ruins are painful, yes, but they are pure. Because what remains after destruction is truth, and truth is the foundation of rebirth. You rebuild by focusing on what you can control: your body. Train it. Your mind, discipline it. Your purpose, rediscover it. Your time, guard it. Every hour you spend thinking about her is an hour taken from your own evolution. And that's the real loss. Not her absence, but the attention you keep feeding to her memory. When you shift your focus inward, you begin to rebuild your empire. You start waking up earlier. You start moving with intention. You start realizing that pain doesn't destroy you. It refines you. Camus believed that in a world without clear meaning, the most powerful act is to create your own meaning. So build something, a skill, a passion, a mission. Turn the energy that once went toward her into something that builds you. Because the man who rebuilds himself after heartbreak is no longer the same man who loved before. He is deeper, wiser, calmer. He no longer loves from emptiness, and he loves from fullness. And that's the moment she might look back. That's when she'll notice the change. But by then, you won't be waiting. You'll be walking toward a life that doesn't depend on her presence but thrives on your purpose. Because true strength is not found in revenge or rebound. It's found in reinvention. So rebuild, slowly but surely. Not to prove anything to her, but to prove to yourself that you were always whole. She just helped you remember it. Forgiveness without attachment. Forgiveness is one of the hardest acts of strength a man can perform. Because forgiveness isn't about her, it's about releasing yourself. When someone hurts you, your mind naturally wants balance. You want the scales to even out. You want her to feel what you felt. But revenge only ties you to her pain even tighter. And bitterness is a cage where you become your own prisoner. Camus once wrote, "To be happy, we must not be too concerned with others. That includes those who wronged us." The Stoics echoed the same. That resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. Forgiveness doesn't mean what she did was right. It means you've outgrown the need for retribution. It means you've evolved beyond the story. Think about it. If you keep holding anger, you are still reacting to her even in silence. She still controls your thoughts, your emotions, your energy. And that is the opposite of freedom. Forgiveness is not softness, it's sovereignty. It's the quiet decision that says, "You may have hurt me, but you can't define me." It's looking at her name, her memory, her betrayal, and feeling nothing but calm. Camus called this the lucid acceptance of reality. To forgive is to accept that human beings are flawed, that life is unpredictable, that people fail, even those we love. And yet you rise above it. Forgive her, not because she deserves it, but because you deserve peace. You deserve a mind that's not haunted by what-ifs. You deserve mornings that don't begin with memories. You deserve nights that aren't filled with unfinished stories. True Stoicism isn't the absence of feeling, it's the mastery of it. And forgiveness is the highest form of mastery, because when you can forgive and still walk away, calm, composed, and unbothered, you become unstoppable. Forgiveness doesn't mean you let her back in. It means you finally let yourself out. The Art of Emotional Detachment. Now that you've forgiven, the final step is detachment, the art of walking away not in anger, but in enlightenment. Detachment isn't about not caring, it's about caring wisely. It's understanding that love doesn't mean ownership, that attachment doesn't mean purpose. Camus said, "Live to the point of tears." He didn't mean to live in sadness, but to live fully and to feel, to love, to lose, and yet to remain grounded in your own being, because that's where freedom is found, not in avoiding emotion, but in not being consumed by it. To detach means to understand that her chapter in your life was not a mistake. It was a lesson, a mirror, a reminder that nothing external can complete you. She came into your life to awaken something within you. Maybe strength, maybe awareness, maybe self-worth. And now her role is done. Your story continues, but hers ends here. When you detach, you stop chasing closure because you already found it inside. You stop watching her social media. You stop wondering who she's with. You stop asking what if, because you've replaced all those questions with one truth. I'm better for having been through this. Camus believed that even in a meaningless world, we must imagine Sisyphus happy, pushing his rock again and again, yet smiling. That's detachment. To carry your pain without letting it define you. To walk through life's absurdities and still find peace within them. So walk away, not with bitterness, but with quiet gratitude. Not because she lost you, but because you found yourself. And when you can look back at her name and feel no rage, no longing, just calm understanding, that's when you've won. That's when pain becomes wisdom. That's when heartbreak becomes transformation. That's when a man becomes untouchable, the man who rises from the ashes. And now, as you sit with your silence, remember this. You are not broken. You are becoming. Pain doesn't destroy the strong. It reveals them. And what once tore you apart will one day be the story that builds someone else. Because the man who can face heartbreak with dignity, betrayal with calm, and loss with clarity, that man is rare. That man is free. Camus said, "In the midst of winter, I found there was within me an invincible summer. That summer is your spirit. It's the warmth inside you that no cold act of betrayal can freeze. It's your will to rise again. It's your refusal to let one person's choices define your destiny. Let her go, not because you stopped caring, but because you started respecting yourself. Because you now understand that love without respect is not love, it's attachment. And a Stoic man doesn't attach. He connects, he learns, he evolves. You have faced the fire and you didn't burn. You forged. You have felt pain and you didn't crumble. You grew. You have been hurt and yet you stand, taller, calmer, wiser. That is your victory. That is your Camus moment. The acceptance of life as it is, with peace in your heart and purpose in your steps. So as this journey ends, remember, you handle a woman who hurts you not with revenge, not with words, not with tears, but with silence, strength, and self-respect. Walk away and let the world wonder how you stayed so calm. Let her wonder how the man she broke became the man she could never reach again. Because the truth is simple. You didn't lose her. You found you, and that is the most Stoic, the most Camus, the most powerful act of all.